What's up, guys? Stacy here from Becoming Financially Fit, and today we're going to be talking about an interesting topic. Today we're going to be discussing the Downpayment Toward Equity Act of 2021 and how it applies to you. The program is essentially a $20,000 grant program that can be used towards the down payment of a home. The program is for first-time homebuyers and first-generation homebuyers, and the program can be up to $25,000 if you meet certain criteria. I want to make sure you guys watch to the end of the video because each one of the eligibility requirements needs to be met in order to receive the benefits from this particular program. But before we get into the content, if you haven't seen my channel before, I make videos about personal finance, financial literacy, savings, investing, and I also try to throw some entrepreneurship in there as well. So if you're interested in any of those topics or you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the bell to be updated anytime I post new content. All right, let's get into it. So before we get into all of the eligibility requirements for this particular Down Payment Toward Equity Act program, I'm going to talk about it from a high level just to give you guys an understanding of what it actually is and what the funds can be used for. So essentially, this bill is just a proposal. It has not been written into law yet. So it's just a proposal right now. But I want to give you this information so you know everything it takes to become eligible for it. So it's essentially a program that gives up to $20,000 to $25,000 to first-time homebuyers in order to go out and purchase a home. And this program is really towards individuals in certain categories, low income and minority categories, to allow them to get that American dream of home ownership. The funds can essentially be used for down payment assistance, closing cost assistance, or in order to reduce the interest rate on a particular mortgage through paying for points or things like that. In terms of mortgages that this program qualifies for, the program funds can be used to assist in the purchase of a home bought with a mortgage that meets the following criteria. It's either eligible for purchase by Fannie or Freddie Mac, is insured by either the FHA or the USDA, or meets the definition of a qualified mortgage. And like I said, this proposal only has 3 pages, and I'm going to leave a link down to the actual bill and proposal in the description. So if you want to check it out for yourself, you can. But what I'm going to be doing next is going through each and every single one of the eligibility requirements so you know exactly if you meet this program and if you can actually join if it does become a law. Now, one of the most important sections of this entire video is solely going to be based on eligibility requirements. And like I said, these are going to be preliminary, but I want to make sure you guys have all the information you need to make an informed decision. So under this program, the funds can be used with first-time homebuyers that meet certain income requirements that will be discussed here in a little bit, and also meet the definition of a first-generation homebuyer. And I'll go through all the definitions of what a first-time home buyer is, what the income requirements are, and also what they define as a first-generation home buyer. So now I'm going to take you guys directly into the bill so you can see it for yourself. But I want you to kind of follow along with me to see some of these income requirements just to make sure we're all on the same page. Regarding income, homeowners must have an income at or below 120% of area median income, or AMI, for either the area where the home being purchased is located or the area where the home buyer's place of residence is located. For home buyers purchasing homes in high-cost areas, the income limit is increased to 180% of AMI for the area in which the home being purchased is located. So now a question you guys might have is, what is area median income, AMI, and how can I make sure that I meet that criteria that's in this proposed bill? So essentially, area median income is the median income for your particular area. That can be a particular county or a city, but it's pretty easy to find it. One quick thing I did to find out what my area median income was for Los Angeles was just put in Los Angeles County and I searched AMI on Google, and it gave me the list, the PDF list of the AMI for my particular area. So if you're trying to search to see if you meet this criteria, all you need to do is search either your city or your county plus the text AMI or area median income, and you should be able to find out if you are in this criteria or not. So now for this bill, let's get into what they define as a first-time homebuyer. In this particular bill, you meet the requirement of a first-time homebuyer if you have not owned a home within the past 3 years. So it's not if you haven't owned a home ever, it's just within the past 3 years. If you have not owned a home, then you're considered a first-time home buyer under this program, and you check that box for the criteria met. Another criteria that needs to be met under this particular bill to be eligible to receive the funds is the definition of a first-generation home buyer. This is something that I haven't heard in the past, but let's dive into the bill itself to see what they define as a first-generation home buyer. The Act's definition of first-generation homebuyer is any individual whose parents or guardians never owned a home during the homebuyer's lifetime or previously owned a home during their homebuyer's lifetime but lost a home to foreclosure, short sale, or deed in lieu of foreclosure and do not currently own a home. Any individual who lived in foster care also qualifies as a first-generation homebuyer. So now this is super important. Not only do you need to meet the income requirements under this bill proposal, but you also need to make sure that you fall under the criteria of a first-time home buyer, and also you fall under the criteria of a first-generation home buyer. One additional piece of requirement for this bill is the fact that home buyers will need to complete a HUD-approved counseling program. And the counseling program is for home buyers to walk them through the process of buying their first home. This is going to be looking for a home, the closing process, what happens after the mortgage, the taxes, insurance, all of that is going to be included in this home buying counseling program. So like I said, in order to be approved and meet the criteria for this program, you need to make sure before you close, you pass one of those courses. It's pretty easy, it's pretty simple, and it's pretty straightforward. So if you want any information about that, just search HUD approved home buying counseling programs in your area, and you should be able to find a bunch of those out there. So now let's talk about money and how much money you can actually receive from this Downpayment Toward Equity Act of 2021 program. Well, there's going to be two different categories. One is going to be up to $20,000, and that's for pretty much anyone who falls under the criteria that we discussed before. The other is going to be up to $25,000. And this $25,000 is going to be if you fall under the qualification of a socially and economically disadvantaged individual. And let's discuss what that exactly means. So if you do fall under that category, you can receive an additional $5,000 to make this total fund towards home buying up to $25,000. So now let's jump back into the bill so I can read the definitions to make sure if you do qualify as a economic and socially disadvantaged individual, because that might be able to give you an additional $5,000 if this bill were to pass. So what does the bill qualify as a socially and economically disadvantaged individual? Well, the Act defines socially disadvantaged individuals as those who have been subjected to racial or ethnic prejudice or cultural bias because of their identity as a member of a group without regard to their individual qualities. Any individual identifying as Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Native American, or a combination thereof will be presumed to meet this definition. What is an economically disadvantaged individual? An economically disadvantaged individual is one who meets the bill's income requirements. So now that we've went through all that, I want to talk about the repayment, because this may be something that becomes evident throughout the course of this entire program. After you've received the funds, you've purchased the house, there's going to be some type of repayment if you decide to meet a couple of these things. So like I said, let's dive back into the bill and read the repayment clause just to make sure you are aware of everything that's going on here. In terms of repayment, homebuyers receiving assistance under this act will be required to pay back all assistance they receive if they stop occupying their home less than a year after purchase. The amount the homebuyer will be required to pay back will decrease 20% for each year they live in the home, and there will be no penalty after 5 years. The penalty will be waived should the homebuyer sell the home and realize a gain on the sale less than the amount that they were required to pay. So now that we have all of that out the way, I want to go through the entire video to kind of give you guys a summary of what we talked about today. So what is available? Well, it's going to be $20,000 or up to $25,000 if you meet one of the criteria that we discussed. So now, who is eligible for this program? Well, it's going to be first-time home buyers who classify as first-generation home buyers and also meet the income requirements as laid out in this particular bill. So now let's talk about timeline. And this is something that I kind of went throughout the entire video. I said that this is just a bill proposal and it's not actually written into law yet. So be on the lookout. Biden just did his speech last night talking about all the things that he wanted to do within his first term in administration. So this is something that may be coming in 2021 or it may be coming in 2022. We do not know yet, but we know that this has been proposed, so it's on the docket. Now we just have to wait and make sure that our lawmakers write this into law so you guys can become eligible for this particular program. So wrapping this up, the next logical question you guys might have is, how do I apply for this program? And like I said before, it is just a bill proposal, so there's no way to actually apply for it yet. But as I see new information that comes out, what I'm going to do on my end is I'm going to make a new video for you guys laying out everything you need in terms of how to apply, the updated criteria, and everything you need to know about how you can become eligible for this particular program. I'll also leave the link down to the bill proposal in the description. So if you guys want to read through it for yourself, it's only 3 pages. It's a simple read and it lays out everything that we've discussed today. But if you guys got some value from this video, make sure you give this video a like. And if this is the first time you're on my channel and you want to see more videos like this in the future, or you want to stay updated on this particular bill, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the bell to be updated anytime I post new content.